This is Rugby Merlin and welcome back to the channel. So in this video entitled Resistance, I'm gonna look into whether England can offer any resistance to Ireland as they march on towards making another piece of history and claiming back-to-back Grand Slam titles. So undoubtedly it's a huge game for both teams. It's Ireland's only remaining away match this Six Nations Championship. And for England, if they claim a victory against Ireland, it will be regarded as a successful campaign, no matter what happens in the last game. So a lot to play for both teams. So first of all, I've looked at the history between these two sides, especially at Twickenham. And whereas England have a clear advantage over the last 20 years, say, Ireland's recent history against them has been exceptional, really. They've won the last four, and particularly they had a great win at Twikenham in 2022, 32-15. And yeah, they've won all of those four games by scoring around 30 points. So how about the actual teams, or the likely teams that are going to play against each other? Let's start in the pack and the front five. So Ireland have established quite a lot of dominance, particularly in the scrum. Line-out has run pretty well so far, but you will say that their front five unit has been running really well and exceptional, really. You got Sheehan at hooker, and then Furlong and Porter, and then Joe McCarthy and Tag Byrne, who's playing brilliant as always. And England's pretty solid, but you wouldn't say Ireland will feel threatened at all by their front five. Maybe England will feel like they can challenge the line out a little bit, but you'd have to give the advantage to Ireland. Into the back row, and I think that's maybe where England feel they can get a little bit more of an advantage. Ireland's back row is really settled and doing well, but Van der Fleer is playing himself back into form, and he had a good game against Wales. Caelan Doris is not at the heights he was last year, and maybe carrying an injury. And Omani is doing his job, but hasn't really stood out in any of the matches so far this Six Nations. Whereas for England, Earl has been undoubtedly England's best player for a while now, and Underhill, who's come back into the team, has done well in the last couple of matches. So I think it'll be pretty even, but maybe England, if they raise their game, can get a little bit of an advantage there. Onto the halfbacks, and this is where I think really England's chances fall apart. At number 9, you're not even really sure who their first choice is. It seems to be Alex Mitchell now, who's carrying the injury, so it'll probably Danny Kerr. And then you got forward at 10 for Ireland, Jameson Gibson-Park, who's an absolute world-class player, and then Crowley, who's coming to the team and really cemented his place in that starting 15. I think one of the main things that I'm concerned about in terms of England offering any resistance to the Irish march is Ford, because he plays well in for certain periods of the game, and when he's switched on, he does things right. Like he's got his drop goal little thing going on, and he puts in some decent kicks. But yeah, his concentration does seem to lapse during the match, and Crowley, one of his great attributes, I think, is his ability to concentrate for the majority of the match, which is exceptional really for a young man like him. So Ireland with a clear advantage there. Moving into midfield, you'd have to say that Aki and Henshaw have done a great job for Ireland. Ringrose is out injured, of course, but I think they've been exceptional, particularly in defence. A lot was mentioned about Aki's attacking abilities, and Henshaw in his day can match anyone attacking wise, but their defence has been really good. Henshaw at outside centre has a tough job, as any outside centre does, and he's performed it immaculately so far. As for the England centres, Ollie Lawrence has just come back into the team, so maybe a bit more muscle there, but I think Slade will probably play, and yeah, I don't think they have the ability to match the Irish centres, so again, advantage to Ireland. Into the back three, Ireland, maybe a little bit because they've got the two new boys there. Fraley and Nash will probably play unless Keenan's fit. Hopefully for Ireland he will be. Lowe, though, has had a great championship so far and is playing really well at a high level. England, though, I haven't really found a decent back three. Fairbank has come in and he got a good try against Scotland, but the wingers haven't really performed, and unfortunately for them, I think Faya Oboso, who looked the part when he came on against Scotland, he probably won't be playing, I don't think, and he could have been the X factor for them. I didn't realize he was so young. He's 21, still in uni, and he's doing his medical exams, so he's not even training with the team this week. So I think it's unlikely that he'll be starting. So again, advantage to Ireland probably there. So all over the park, they have some big advantages. And if we look at the bench, Ireland seem to be developing their own version of the bomb squad. So they've got some very dynamic forwards to come off the bench. And yeah, I think England's bench hasn't really had a huge impact, apart from maybe the winger there, Faya Oboso. So yeah, again, advantage to Ireland. And these advantages are piling up now. And England, although they do tend to raise their game for the Irish matches, is a big rivalry, obviously, as everyone knows, and they usually do perform well. Last year's game is a big example. It was by far and away their best performance of the Six Nations, but I just don't think they can stifle this Irish defence. And Ireland are good defensively, good in the set piece, and yeah, England are going to have to score, I think, 25, 35 points to even be in with the shout. And as far as their attack has looked so far this Six Nations, I just don't think they're capable of it. Plus, you have to factor in that England have a new defensive system. They have the new guy in there from South Africa, or who was the South Africa coach, and he's implemented the rush defense. England is still working on it, still fine-tuning it, and there's going to be holes, and if there's any team that can exploit them, it's going to be Ireland. So can England upset Ireland's march towards the Grand Slam? I don't think so, and I'm going to be very surprised if they do. So once England are taken care of, Ireland are back at home in Dublin for their last match against Scotland, who've shown what they could do when they have a little bit of ball against England. But yeah, that will be, I think, the big match. Yeah, let's see how it goes against England. And it's going to be an interesting match regardless. It always is between these two. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for listening. Please like, comment, etc. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.